All right, everyone. Welcome to For the Girls with Becca Moore. I am with my mom in Ohio, and this is your first podcast ever. It was really hard to secure her as a guest, to be honest. You're so busy.
Yeah, and you don't come to Ohio.
You have to hold your mic closer to you.
Yeah, and you don't come to Columbus, Ohio very often.
No.
Or Dayton, Ohio.
My mom
for that
moved
matter.
from Columbus to Dayton a few months ago, but we grew up in Columbus. We've been doing like a tour of the town. I took Shannon everywhere. Shannon got to meet my entire family. It was my first time bringing someone home, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was.
That was my first time.
Amazing. Yeah, and we love Shannon. She's awesome.
Were you like surprised when I ended up having a girlfriend, or were you like?
Yeah, I mean, it was a surprise, but not huge.
Really?
Not a huge surprise.
Why wasn't it a huge surprise?
Well, it's just that when you had boyfriends, none of them ever lasted past maybe 2 weeks. Might have been the longest relationship I knew about until that one weird one. But you were in LA by then.
I was in Nashville. Are you talking about the crazy man?
Oh, Nashville. Yes.
Yeah, that was Nashville.
The crazy man.
That one was more like on and off. But yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. So in other words, you've never had one that seemed healthy at all. First of all, lengthwise or normal relationship.
I feel like also I just get the ick very easily. Like it's like hard for me to like.
Yeah.
Okay, it's hard for me to feel like, okay, this is where I'm gonna stay. Like I'm gonna hang out here. You know what I mean? Like it's hard for me.
I do know what you mean. Yeah, the ick came very fast for you in your relationships and in mine.
Really? Yours too?
No, you had the ick for anybody I went out with as well.
But yeah, I did. I didn't like any of your boyfriends, to be honest, growing up. Right. We have to let Piper out.
We have a dog who is letting herself be known right now.
But yeah, well, that's because you had terrible taste in men, honestly.
Okay.
You don't agree?
Fair. For the most part, fair. Yeah.
Me and my mom had like a complicated relationship for like a lot of time, like many years. We were like not getting along. It's because I didn't like your boyfriends and I couldn't live peacefully with them. By the way, I'm one of 5 and I have 4 siblings, and it seemed like all of them, I feel like I'm just kind of hard on men. Not even hard. I feel like I'm being rational. I'm like, I don't like, once I figure out that I don't like a guy, I'm done with it. Like he's forever etched into my brain, like painted into a picture of like who I think that person is. So when she would date a guy that would like maybe not be that nice to her in front of me, or like I would see them fighting, I would immediately, and especially as a kid, like you're like, my mom is like my entire world. Like you were God to me when you were a kid. I didn't understand that you were a human being. So if someone was being mean to you, it was like, no, I'm the only one allowed to be mean to my mom. Like this random man can't do that. And it seemed like I noticed even as a kid, like all 4 of my siblings were more like flexible, but also they were kind of older. Like they were older when you were like having, because they got you. She divorced my dad when I was 8. So they were older. They were like out of the house. My sibling, like my closest sibling to me, is like around 9 years older than me, and so she was out of the house by then. Like by the time we were having boyfriends, but
yeah, like I had a family from one husband and got a divorce and then married your dad. Yeah, and there was a big time gap between the 2 marriages and the 2, having families. So, like, I started over, and then that didn't work out either.
I know. So. But, like, when you guys got divorced, it felt like my whole world was, like, upside down. Like, literally, like, It was very hard for me. Did not like that.
I remember. That was rough. That was really rough.
What was I like as a kid when you guys got divorced?
I mean, it was like your world was turned upside down. I remember having so much fear telling you. And weren't we in the front yard when I told you?
No, we were sitting in the living room. Like you sat us down.
I thought we were sitting in the front yard. That's my memory. But anyway, yeah, that was the hardest. Telling you was, Daniel didn't care. He was what?
Because he was 2. My little brother
2 years old or 2.
Yeah. It was just a hard divorce because I had like hints that it might have like Kelly would tell my older sister was like, I bet they're gonna get divorced. Like she would say that to me, and then I would be like, no, they're not, and then she would say it's gonna be a good thing though. Like she kept saying that over and over, and I was like, but that's my dad. I don't understand.
Right.
So, any guy that you like would date after my dad, I wasn't gonna like, no matter what.
You made that very clear.
But I didn't understand how my siblings were so chill about you dating new people. Like they were like, even Daniel was just a little baby. He was like a toddler, but like as he grew up, he was more flexible. It just seemed like all of them were more adaptable in that way, like able to accept a new person. And I was more like,
you were very strong-willed.
Yeah.
Very strong-willed.
Like I would get the ick for them, and then I would be a brat. Like I would refuse. I would not be happy if I knew they were coming over. I would make it miserable for the man, honestly. But it was like, I feel like in my head, in my little brain, when I was like 8 or 9 or 10, like I was trying to be like protective over you. Like I really do. And I don't think you took it that way. Like I feel like you interpreted it as me being a brat, right?
Yeah, well, I knew that there were psychological and emotional reasons. I understood that, and that's why we took you to counseling, or I took you to counseling then for a while. So I understood it, but it was just frustrating. But looking back, I can see even more clearly that they were unhealthy relationships for the most part. And so you were wise beyond your years, honestly.
Well, I just knew something wasn't right. Like I knew it wasn't right. But then even looking back, I'm like, my dad was like perfect. It's just like he was my dad, and like he's never gonna see this. He doesn't watch my podcast, but he would. I mean, I don't hope he doesn't. He would like give me letters to give to you to be like, we're gonna get back together. Like he thought that you guys were gonna get back together for a while. Did I ever tell you? I gave you one.
I don't remember. I block out so many things like that. There was no way. There was no way in my mind. So.
Well, yeah, no.
And I didn't want you to have false hope, so that kind of stuff.
He was definitely giving me false hope. So that was also adding into like the me not liking your boyfriends. Like
that would do it. Yeah.
He would be like, because you got me a kitten, and he's allergic to cats. And
I didn't do it on purpose. Afterwards, I thought about that. I was like, "Oh, that was kind of a cool move there." But I didn't do it on purpose.
After they got divorced, my mom got me a kitten for my birthday, and
because she wanted one so bad.
And my dad's like really bad allergic, but I was like, it was my 8th birthday. I remember it must have been 7 when you guys got divorced, because it was my 8th birthday. I got a kitten, and then my dad was saying like, we are going to get back together, like. He gave me a letter to give to you. I think I did give it to you, but I don't even know if you opened it. I don't even know if you did. But I was like, but Dad, we got a kitten. Like, we have a kitten. You're allergic. And he was like, well, we're going to figure it out. Like, trust me, it's going to be fine. I'm going to do like allergy, whatever. He said there's a way to fix it. And I was like, I believed him. And I was like, oh, okay. But it's weird because even though he was saying that, like, I still almost didn't want you guys to get back together. Like, I kind of knew. I wanted you to get back together, but like I knew that what he was saying to me was like wrong. Like I knew, because I think I was in like programs where like for like divorce or something. I don't know. I just knew that he was being like a little bit strange and saying like that you guys are gonna get back together. Like I didn't take him seriously because I knew you didn't like him anymore. But I think I was still mad at you for.
Oh yeah, you didn't understand.
No, I didn't understand.
All. Constantly asking me, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what would you say?
We just fell out of love is what I said.
And I didn't understand because I had like I felt my childhood was so happy until the divorce. Like I really felt that. Like we had like a good life together, I thought. And like I had all my siblings in my house, and it was fun, like I thought. But then when
it was pretty good for a while.
Yeah, but you guys were married for how long?
10 years.
Yeah, and you didn't know. That's the thing, when you, like, I had a romanticized version of your relationship, but then when you grow up and you kind of realize things, you're like, oh, I'm like, really, I am proud of you for divorcing him. Like, I'm happy that you did. But it's like, 8-year-old me isn't going to be happy for you.
Nope.
No.
I understand that.
So.
And I understood that at the time. So,
it took me like the last like 3 years is when I kind of was like, okay, yeah, thank you for divorcing my dad. Like, that was definitely, I'm proud of you. But I couldn't forget. But anyway, like, I still was struggling with like your new relationships because I didn't understand being in like a toxic relationship and like how addictive it can be, and like how like even though they weren't very nice to you, it's like addicting to like get back to like the normalcy of like, oh, I can, if I just do this, then I can make this guy have a perfect relationship with me and like be nice to me. And I didn't understand that until I dated that crazy guy when I lived in Nashville. And it was just so up and down and toxic that like that gave me a new perspective on you and like even my sisters. Like, it honestly did. It like helped me understand you better. So I'm glad that I feel like I had to go through that. But also like,
I wish you hadn't had to go through that.
But I feel like it was good that I did.
Well, it gave you a lot of wisdom for sure.
Yeah, like
you won't make that mistake again.
No, never again. Like, that would never happen again, hopefully.
Thank goodness. But it could have been worse. So
yeah,
I'm glad everything turned out okay.
I feel like if I didn't know, I got lucky because I was I just went to a therapist because I just went crazy in that relationship, and I went to a therapist. Like, I felt crazy. I went to a therapist, and then I realized I was in a terrible relationship. Like, she helped me realize. So I really think therapy helped me a lot because, like, even when I was going through as a kid, like, random spurts of time of me going to therapy, like, I think helped me kind of develop normally, like, without a bunch of trauma. Mm-hmm. Well, I do. Obviously, everyone has trauma, but, like, I really think, like, therapy helped me, even though I did not want to go at all. But
right. Have you tried meditation?
I did when I was in Nashville, yeah, but no, not like
that's like the best thing that you can do for that is to just get used to just sitting for a certain amount of time and just kind of listening to your thoughts and really going into the present moment.
You gave me ADHD. You have ADHD so severely.
No kidding. Yeah.
And I feel like I can't do meditation. Like, things like that are like very hard for me.
Yeah, but you don't have to, like, people think you have to stop the thoughts, and you don't. That's the thing. You can just let it happen and observe, get really curious about your thoughts. And sometimes you have insights.
Yeah.
You know, it helps you because your brain's trying to talk to you. So that's when you listen, not just your brain, your whole soul, your spirit, everything is trying to communicate with you.
Are you religious?
And, I believe in God.
I feel like I know
I'm not
all these...
like religious. Yeah. I'm like more spiritual because I don't go to church anymore, but I definitely believe that there's a God, but my God is love. I believe that God is love. And yeah, I believe that Jesus existed. But I also believe that the Bible was written by men or people, and people are human. So I don't necessarily believe everything that's written in black and white.
Yeah. I think you even told us, we went to church. She made us go to church as a kid. And I feel like you made sure we knew that, like, it's not like...
Yeah,
we weren't.
It's relative. I mean...
Yeah. I mean, but I don't care what you guys believe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But anyway. Okay, so we just got into, like, really trauma and, like, really deep right away. We can go into more lighthearted stuff. What was I like as a kid? Do you remember? I feel like...
Oh, my gosh, Becca. You were just the cutest kid. How do I describe? Very curious, but quiet. You were quiet. You were shy around other people, for sure, until you warmed up.
I remember, like, anytime we would go to a new place, I would, like, hug your legs. Like, I didn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you were just a normal kid. You were very curious. You read a lot of books. You were very smart, good at memorizing things. And
I was honestly kind of nerdy. Like, I feel like
lucky.
I wasn't, like, yeah, I was definitely nerdy. I was reading a lot. Like, I was a reader. And I had glasses. I was honestly, like, stereotypical nerdy girl for a while. And then you even asked me,
but you love to sing. You were very dramatic. Like,
I did love to, like, act. I love to, like, act things out. I was in plays. Mom was meeting Shannon for the first time, and I was like, what's your favorite memory of me ever? And you said it was when I was in a play. What play? Tell them about that.
Yeah, she was in The Hobbit.
I didn't know anything about The Hobbit or it's a Lord of the Rings. Is it the prequel to it?
I think so.
I don't know. I've never read it. I've never been interested. Still have never been interested. And I was like 12 or 11. And my mom played the flute in like community theater things. So we would go to like community shows a lot. And I was like enamored by like the theater. Like I loved this theater, Columbus Children's Theater. And it was they were really good shows, honestly. Columbus CCT had, like really good. It's not like quality school shows. It was like quality shows. So anyway, there was like their competitor theater was having a casting call, and I thought it would be easier than CCT. And I was like 11 or 12. I saw it online, and I thought it'd be easier than CCT because it was like I don't know. I just thought CCT was like the CCT Columbus Children's Theater. I thought it was like the best theater ever. Like the shows were so good. Everything was so cool. So I was like too scared to audition for that. So I did their competing theater, and it was for the random. I just needed to do it now. Like all I cared about was like doing it now. I didn't care what show it was. I saw The Hobbit. I didn't even know what The Hobbit was. I had no idea. I showed up to this audition so confident to a fault, like in the way, like falsely confident. I remember being like, I just don't know I don't know this show. I don't know what's going on. And they made us like line up. And I thought like my dad was there, and I remember like thinking him laughing in the audience. So like I was hamming it up even more. So I like ended up getting like the main role in this show. And then I realized how like high stakes it was, and the fact that I got this role and it was my first play. I had never even been in a school play, and I quickly on the first rehearsal when there was like 50 kids and they were all jealous, like they had all been in this theater and were taking classes forever. I shriveled up. Like I remember I'm like, oh my God, I did not deserve this role. Like all these kids were like have been auditioning for months, and they would tell me like, you're so lucky, like, and I was like, I don't know anything. I didn't know anyone really. I knew like one girl from middle school or something, but I didn't know anyone. And then I was like, oh wow, like, because the audition room was like so small, so realizing all of the people that had gotten cast were way more advanced than I acting. Was, and I felt imposter syndrome. I felt I didn't deserve this role. And I shriveled into myself, like, and the directors were evil to me, like, evil.
She would come home crying every rehearsal.
These rehearsals were every night after school for like 4 hours. It was like, and we weren't getting paid.
She was miserable.
It was the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh my gosh, I felt so bad for her. And she was going to school every day, and she had all this homework.
School.
It was
7th grade, middle school.
And you were in that other school, that adjacent school. It was like a gifted, wasn't it? Phoenix.
It wasn't really gifted.
It was like an alternative school that...
It was just more like...
More work?
In-depth school than like the public school.
Right.
But it was free. It wasn't like it was a private school. But like it was just it was like 7:45 to 4:45 was school. Then rehearsal was like 6 to 9.
Right.
Every day.
So she had all this homework, and then she had to rehearse, and she had really mean directors.
They were making me so nervous. They were like, you in the audition were this. They told me this story. They were like, you were so brave and confident, and now you're not performing anymore. You need to perform. You need to be an actor. Do you want this role? And I was like, I don't know. And these lines were monologues. I didn't even know what the word monologue meant. I didn't know what these words meant. I didn't know.
Like 90% of the.
I was Thorin, who was an old man, and I didn't connect to this character at all. I didn't know anything about Lord of the Rings. I didn't know what the words I was saying meant. And I had undiagnosed ADHD. And I didn't even know I had ADHD. I had
somehow
to memorize.
Did it. And she did it so well, too.
That was your favorite memory, was seeing me in the play?
I was blown away. I mean, that's just the first thing that I thought about when you asked me that question, because we were all blown away. Like, what? Is that my daughter?
Because all you were hearing was me coming home crying, like, I can't do it.
Oh, yeah. To think about how miserable you were just trying to prepare for this. And then you did it, and it was like, geesh, that was better than any kid your age could have done. It was incredible.
It was really hard work, but I'm so proud of like 12-year-old me for doing that. I feel like it really taught me like what's like a hard work resilience, work effort, and like I had no choice. I literally had to do this. They couldn't cast a different, I mean, I'm sure they could have, but I didn't have an understudy. Like I literally had to do it. And I remember like feeling, oh my God, I did it. And it made me, then I was like, if I could do that, I can definitely do CCT. So then I started doing CCT, which is like
in a lot of plays.
And I loved it. That was like my life for a while. But then I got to high school and I was like, I'm too cool.
For some reason, you didn't want to do it in high school, which made me sad. And then you didn't continue in college, which made me even sadder because you were so good.
I wanted to fit in really bad in high school. Like all I cared about, because I went to a different middle school. So getting to high school, I just wanted to like be not nerdy anymore. Like I was like, I'm done being smart.
It's not nerdy to do that.
I was nerdy like my whole life, and I didn't want to be anymore. I was like, I just want to be a cheerleader or something. Like I just wanted to be like normal. Also, we were really poor. So like growing up, by the way, people online sometimes don't believe that we were poor. They think I'm lying. Yeah. It's like, that is my worst nightmare.
I was a school secretary.
She was a secretary at a school, and she had 5 kids.
Which is not a high paid position.
No. She was making like $32,000 a year.
Yeah. At that time, that's probably about right.
And it was only because I saw your
single mom.
paperwork thing when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she was a single mom.
Single mom, and with 5 kids and a mortgage, and living in Worthington. I mean, we weren't actually in Worthington. We were in Powell, but it was Worthington School District, and it was hard to keep up with the Joneses.
It was very difficult, and I was so embarrassed of like everything, like our house, everything. Only because you did great, honestly. Like, thank you for
as a single mom with ADHD. We didn't know that she had ADHD.
We didn't know anything about ADHD back then, but I'm not that ADHD is our whole thing. It's just that we're like on the topic now because we've been talking about it lately. But
yeah.
We're not doing like a sob story of ADHD. I feel like people with ADHD like victimize themselves so much. But anyway, I do it too. I was just embarrassed of everything, only because I was just in so many clubs growing up, and like Girl Scouts, everything. Like you put me in a lot of random clubs, so I was like
random.
Yeah, like honestly, I was exposed to like so many rich people kind of, and like I would go to their house. Like I was just a very social kid. I would like go have sleepovers like every weekend with random friends, and everyone had more money than me, and like their pantry had like all these snacks and like all this stuff that I knew we couldn't afford, because every time I would ask for any of the stuff, you'd be like, we are poor, we do not have enough money for this. And it would like,
I didn't say those words.
I know you just said I cannot afford
poor. I didn't think of us that way. I just struggling.
Yeah, but maybe, I couldn't even like come to that conclusion in my brain. Like there's no way we're poor, because like we would watch movies in school about poor people and like to be nice to poor people, and I was like, I think I am the poor people. I really think I am. And it's just like a pit in your stomach. Yeah. It's just a lot to go through as a kid. Like I feel the same as you guys inside, but I don't have the cutest clothes and everything. It's really hard to accept as a kid. And I feel like I carried that into like high school, college, like everything. Like I was like, I want to be exactly like you guys, and any way I can do that, I will do that. Like I'll figure it out. That's why I like dropped the reading, and reading is cool now, but like at the time I like dropped the theater and like reading stuff. I was like, I'm gonna be normal.
You got into social media like crazy.
Yeah.
You were addicted to social media.
Okay. Did you ever think I was gonna be an influence? Like, what did you think when I started making TikToks?
Well, that was totally new to me. I had no idea that that you could make a living that way, you know?
I didn't either, to be honest. That was crazy.
Yeah, so I just thought it was a hobby, pastime, you know?
Yeah.
A creative outlet.
Well, I got hired at a 9-to-5 out of college, and it was like a recruiting job. I didn't want to do it. It wasn't like what I was passionate about, but it was because it was COVID. So like any job at that time was great to have.
A great thing, yeah. So we were all excited.
Everyone was excited for me, and then I get a call like 2 weeks before my first day is supposed to be, and she's like, "Hey, we found your Instagram, and you have to delete it and change your name on it to Rebecca and take off the more, and take down any partying photos that you have, or like any bathing, anything that could be deemed as inappropriate by a client." And I was like, okay, no. And I only had like 2,000 followers. I wasn't an influencer yet, but like I loved social media just as a concept. Like I loved being able to post whenever I wanted, and that to me was like fun and like freedom. So for my work to take away my out of work life, to me did not feel okay at all. Like I was like, it's not worth it. And the salary was like what, $40,000 a year, $50,000 a year. It literally was not worth it for me. But everyone was mad at me. My entire family, you guys were not happy.
Yeah, well, we were worried. I mean, because we thought it was a good opportunity for you as a starter job right out of college, and you know, it had benefits. And
I remember Jordan, my older brother, was like, "You are insane." Like everything I did, every decision I would make back then, he would say I was insane, and he was kind of like
trying to protect his little sister.
He was the voice of reason. He really was. Like there was a time when I was like getting hired. Okay, so then because I didn't take that job, I started bartending and like serving. I was literally just waiting tables and stuff. And I started making TikToks because I just downloaded TikTok and I thought people on there were funny. So I was like, I'll just make a video too. And I told a story about like guys in college or whatever, and it like went viral. I just kept making the same form of content over and over again.
That list, the 10 out of 10 or 13
I was like 12 out of 10. I was like, this guy like left me for his ex-girlfriend at our date party, but other than that, 12 out of 10. And then it went viral. Total Frat Move reached out to me, and then I took that job and went to Nashville. And even then, like, Jordan was like, this is so stupid. Like, this is so stupid. And I feel like even though he was trying to protect me and like be the voice of reason, I feel like my entire life has been like, okay, I need Jordan to believe that I have like a stable life. Like that's all I need, because he was always the one. He wasn't trying to hold me back, but he was like, don't make any of these decisions. Like, these are terrible. Which I think fueled me even more, because I feel like that telling me no about stuff like that will make me want to do whatever more.
Right.
But
makes sense.
Were you confused? Like, are you on TikTok? Do you see my videos? Like, yeah. I always wonder.
Yeah, I see all of your videos. Pretty sure. I might miss a couple, but yeah, I think it's great. I love it. I do TikToks too.
So my mom. Wait, you should talk about your childhood. Like, why you started doing. Wait, why did you start doing? My mom's a yoga teacher, but she does yoga for people with trauma. And what happened that made you want to do that? Or did anything happen? Or why do you want to do that?
Well, there was trauma in my life. I grew up in a dysfunctional family. I was exposed to violence, not towards myself, but towards my mom. And it was a regular occurrence that you never knew when it was going to happen. So I was always walking on eggshells, wondering when the next explosion was going to happen. And then I would have to protect my little brother because I didn't want him to experience what I had. So I remember, like, grabbing him and going into a closet, trying to wait until everything was done. And it was pretty scary. I mean, especially before he came, when it was just me and, you know, we were in Africa and overseas and away from all of the family that I knew and loved. Felt really isolated, and then this crap happening. So, yeah, it really affected my life, I think. And I know for sure.
Yeah,
and it was the reason for making a lot of bad decisions in my life, because for some reason you continue to attract the same dysfunction that you grew up in, right? So I attracted people that provided that roller coaster up and down. You know, everything's going fine, everything's great and wonderful, and then everything crashes and it's really bad. So it goes from really good to really bad super fast. And that's what I was used to, and that's what I got. So,
yeah.
So that's why I've had some troublesome relationships and different fathers for my kids.
One thing that really humanized you for me, like when I realized that, oh my God, you're really a person and not my mom. Like, you are my mom, but like you're also just a girl, was like reading your diary when
Oh my God.
2 years ago, Kelly, my sister, found her diary in the basement and we read it, and it was when she was 14, which is like such a pivotal time in like anyone's life, I feel. And like you were talking about how, I don't know, there's some parts I can't even say or else it will make me so upset, but like there were so many things that you were like, I hope you were scared, like random, like you were just a girl. You're like, I hope my mom and I hope we can move into a nicer house. Like, or like, I hope they're coming to my play. Like everyone's coming to my, like a play that you were in or something. Or like, and you were like, Aunt Pam's late. Aunt Pam was late, but it was so fun when she got there. She just started dating a new guy named John, and it was Uncle John. It was so crazy. And then there was this one part where it was like your birthday was coming up, and you were like hoping that there was going to be a surprise party, but it wasn't a surprise party. I can't.
I'm going to cry.
No, it was literally like, I can't, I don't even know. Like, it was terrible to read. But other than that, there was a lot of sweet moments. You were just a girl. Also, like you had your first boyfriend or one of your first boyfriends, and you were, I don't cry. Are you crying about the surprise party? Why are you crying?
No, it's just I cry so easily. That's part of my thing. I'm very emotional.
There were candles and like different things in your house, and you thought it was for you.
I don't remember this at all. What the heck are you talking about?
I can't get over it. It makes me so emotional every time. It's just so sweet. It's like, I don't know.
What are we talking about?
For your birthday.
Okay.
That you thought it was going to be a surprise party.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
But really reading it though, there was one part where you had your first boyfriend and he called you and you thought he was high on weed, like he had been smoking weed, and you cried and cried and prayed for him to be free of his addiction to weed.
Don't remember any of this. What was his name anyway? Do you know? I don't know who that was.
He had so many. How could we even remember? But yeah, that was it's like humanized. I feel like that was the sweetest thing that I've ever read. And I was like, oh my God, my mom is just a girl.
I was just a girl.
And then you had...
I'm still just a girl.
You are. You are. You're just a girl. But yeah, it's weird realizing that your parents are just people. And this is their first time on Earth. And they don't know that much more than you do. They just randomly had kids. Like, I used to be mad at you for having 5 kids. I was like... Really?
If I hadn't, you might not be here, girl.
I know, but we were just so poor. It's like, why? Why?
Well, when I had you, I was in a relationship. I was in a marriage.
Marriage, yeah. With your dad.
And things were good at that time.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Things change.
Yeah, but then I'm like, oh my God, you're just like a girl that had kids. Like, I don't know. It was just so crazy. But you just had so many kids. I feel like
5. There's a lot of people who have 10, 12.
Why though? That's just crazy. Like after 2, it's like, this is getting a little chooky.
Yeah, well, today, I mean,
in my opinion,
the way things are
but
now, I don't think I would. I don't know.
Yeah.
If I started over.
Why do you think that we're like avoidant though? Like, are you avoidant? Didn't you say that you're avoidant?
No, I don't remember that. Avoidant. Explain.
Like getting the ick easily?
Oh, that. Yeah. Yeah, I get that when you talk about that. Because when I was on Bumble or Hinge, or I wasn't really on Match much.
One of my favorite,
But I got I just went through dates. I hated it because, I guess we're very particular in a way.
Well, my favorite memory of you is when you were like, oh my God, I have a first phone call with my Bumble match. You were like, I'm really so nervous.
This is a good one.
What do I talk to him about? And I was like, there's literally, it's impossible to go wrong. It's just a phone call. Like, as long as you don't say anything weird.
You gave me a pep talk. And you can do this.
And I go into my room. I hear you in your room saying, hi. Probably 15 seconds later, I hear you say, you're a dumbass. Goodbye. And you hung up the phone.
It was not 15 seconds. Give me a break.
I was
maybe
like, okay, that doesn't.
Maybe 5 minutes.
So it sounds like that one went well.
Yeah. Well, there's certain deal breakers, and politics is.
How did that come up in the first 2 minutes, Mom? You get like, what are you talking about?
Well, I have to screen them, make sure that they're not a Trump supporter,
Okay. Maybe this sounds like what politics on my thing.
What?
No, we're not talking about politics on my thing. But anyway, I feel like
that's a big part of it.
Another thing that we used to make content about was like random things that you've done in my childhood that were like so crazy. Like another one is when you emailed my crush's mom.
Yeah, I just really wanted you to go to church.
He went to church with me, and and I only wanted to go to church on the days that he was there. And anytime he wasn't going to be there, I was like, I don't want to go. I bet Carl's not going. So my mom went in the church directory, found Carl's name, found Carl's mom, emailed her, and said, hey, you don't know me, but my daughter has a huge crush on your son. By the way, had never talked to Carl before. I've never talked to Carl before. I was just having a crush on him from afar.
I knew her. His mom, this person that I emailed, was your leader. Your leader in your group.
No, she wasn't.
Yes, she was. It's Julie.
Julie is not Carl's mom.
Yeah, that's who it was. It was her. It was her son that you had a crush on.
No, it wasn't. That means you emailed someone else? What are you talking about?
Yes,
you emailed his mom.
Yes, it was. Okay, he has a twin sister, right?
Twin brother.
Twin sister.
You thought I liked a Wait.
I'm pretty sure that was Julie, your Sunday school teacher.
Mom, I didn't have a crush on him.
Okay, we had the wrong person.
He was young. He was like 3 years younger than me.
Well, I must have emailed the wrong person.
No. That boy thinks I have a crush on him. He's like...
She wouldn't say anything to anybody.
Of course she would.
No, she wouldn't.
That's so embarrassing. You thought I liked him?
Okay, maybe my memory is not serving me right, but that's who I thought it was.
You emailed a different mom?
Becca, maybe I'm remembering wrong.
No, that's even worse somehow, because that guy I just thought got creeped out because I didn't like it. I guess he just organically didn't like me. And now I have another guy that thinks I liked him too when I was like, 13?
So anyway, the one that you originally liked is totally oblivious to any of this.
I told him at a party. I ran into him at a party.
Oh. Well, did he act like he didn't know what you were talking about? That's because it didn't happen.
So there's another boy out there that thinks all this time that I had a crush on him.
I don't think
my
that,
gosh.
like, if somebody emailed me that, I wouldn't tell my kid. I don't think. Anyway.
Yes, you would. That's so weird.
No, I would not.
I'm trying to think of the other thing that you did. Let me find it. I wrote it down. The other thing.
Okay, you're probably thinking about, what's his name? Cal at Whole Foods.
Oh, yeah. When you staged a fake date.
No, that was a different time because first you were talking about when you were a kid.
Yeah, no. When I was one time, I went to Whole Foods with my mom, and she like planned a date at Whole Foods that day, and I thought we were going grocery shopping.
Call you out on this, right? You know,
I'm not 100% sure that you did not stage this date. Basically,
because I did.
Well, let me tell the story from my perspective. We were going to Whole Foods, I thought, to go grocery shopping. If you don't know, if you aren't familiar with Whole Foods, there is a buffet area where you can sit down and have a nice meal. Mm-hmm. We show up. Mom has been dating a new guy named Cal.
But we had not been dating.
Met yet? Have you not met?
We had dated a few times, and
really,
we were not actively dating any at that time.
I thought no, you guys were dating. You guys were texting, and then you realized you didn't like him from this date. Okay, so we go to Whole Foods, and all of a sudden, sitting at a table conveniently with two other chairs, is Cal, the guy that my mom was supposed to go on a date with. And she's like, "Hey, I didn't know you were going to be here."
Right.
No, you said, "Hey."
Right.
I don't think...
Because I didn't know he was going to be there.
No. So we sit down, and it's just a date of them. They just went on a date. I thought we were going grocery shopping. Nope, we were having a sit-down meal with Cal.
That is not what
happened. And then after that, you were like, I don't like him. I don't like him anymore. That was terrible. You made me talk to... I could tell she had the ick. She made me talk to this guy the entire time. He was and this is like an hour and a half. He's oblivious to the fact that she doesn't like him. He's like loving the fact that me and him are connecting. I'm only connecting with him because I feel bad for him, because I could tell my mom didn't like him the second we sat down.
Not watching this.
I'll just change his name.
And it's my turn to talk.
Okay, go.
What was his name? Let's call him Paul. I'm calling him Paul. Okay. So what happened was I wanted Becca to go with me to Whole Foods because you were in college at the time, weren't you? So you were home.
Yes.
For a break. And I hardly ever got to see you and talk to you. So I said, "Hey, I got to go to Whole Foods. Do you want to go? You want to come along?" And she said, "Sure." I said, we'll sit down and get some pizza or something at the buffet, whatever you want. And we'll do some shopping. And we get there and we go to sit down. And Paul comes up to us. And I had been dating him. And it had tapered off. And I was kind of on the road to ending that, but hadn't quite done that yet. And he decides, this is just a chance meeting, and he decides to sit with us. "Hey, can I sit down?" "Sure." And he sat down, and I was like so bummed because I just wanted to have a date with my daughter, right? So he just happens to be right across from Becca, and I'm thinking, what the heck are we going to talk about? And they just hit it off. They're just talking, and I don't have to say a word, which is heaven for me because I don't want to talk to him. And
I don't want to talk to him either. I was doing some acting. That's called improv, everyone. Look it up.
And anyway, so they got along great, and then it was time to get up and go. And actually, I still had shopping to do. And he follows me
literally around the grocery store.
Around the grocery store.
A nightmare.
It was. For me.
Yeah, and me. I was there too. It was
and
terrible.
you were like filming us or something.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, how embarrassing.
Yes, I was filming you.
Yeah, to use against me later.
You didn't know. Paul did not know.
With your exaggerations.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because what I just said is the correct version.
Okay. What's your least favorite memory of me? What was my, did I have a rebellious phase, and when?
Yeah, you had a rebellious phase all through middle school. Middle school was the worst. And a little bit into
middle school.
High school.
Are you sure?
Oh, maybe it was high school. Let me think.
I was like busy in middle school.
No, middle school was not bad. That was Kelly that had a rough time in middle school. Yeah, it was high school.
Yeah.
When you became super rebellious, which is exactly what happened with me and my mom. But I guess turnabout's fair play. That's what my parents used to say to me.
What was I like in high school? Like, what was I doing that was so rebellious?
Anything
edit it out if you say
anything and everything that was the opposite of what I wanted you to do. Just the opposite.
Like, I guess I don't really remember what I was doing. What was I doing?
You were not interested in Girl Scouts anymore.
I was in high school, Mom.
In all of the friends that you had made, all of your friends at your high school, you no longer wanted anything to do with, which I didn't understand.
No, I just had a new group of friends. Like, I was started... Like, okay, so I went to elementary school with this group of girls that were in Girl Scouts, and I went to a different middle school than them. They had 2 years of, like, friendship.
Apart. I guess I was just hoping that you guys would always be together, and that has nothing to do with
me being rebellious. And then when I got to high school, halfway through, I started getting partying, honestly. Like, I did start kind of veering off of, they were kind of goody two-shoes, and I was like, no, I just realized that life is more exciting than this, and I want to, like, party. So I did that. Definitely my senior year. One of my biggest regrets, honestly, is throwing that house party. Like, I actually feel bad about that.
Yeah. Is that you? I thought that was Jordan.
Oh, yeah. It was Jordan.
It was Jordan.
I forgot. That was weird. Jordan was crazy for that.
I think there were 2. There was one New Year's Eve that had to do with Jordan and his friends.
My older brother's name is Jordan.
Was that separate from yours, or was it yours? And his,
I don't know.
His friends just crashed it.
I honestly forgot that it was Jordan. It wasn't.
Yeah, because we had people like jumping out our window because the cops were coming, and breaking the window, and then breaking the fence in the backyard as they were jumping over it.
That was not me.
That
sounds terrible.
Team. It was the football team because they can't afford to get in trouble by the police, or they don't play. So that wasn't you. That was Jordan's party.
Yes,
it was a separate party. Okay.
Yeah, mine was nothing like that.
All right, but it was definitely when we were out of town.
Yeah, you were on a yoga retreat, and of course you came home early, and mine was bad too, though. Honestly, there were holes in the walls. Do you remember? Maybe you blocked it out. Let's just
try not to remember these things.
That was the worst thing I've ever done. And I went to Jet's Pizza the next day, and I told them I was in a lot of trouble.
Oh.
And they were like, honestly, that place lives on forever in my memory. But I remember one lesson that those managers did teach me was, Becca, you are not the one that needs to be throwing those parties. You go to those parties. Do not throw parties. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just never was interested in throwing a party again after that. But really, though, I am sorry. That was bad. We didn't have a house. Like, I don't know. We didn't have a house to party at that weekend. And I'm sure I just wanted to impress my friends. And I was like, I'm going to have a party. So, and Kelly did help me. Not to throw her on the bus. She did get us all of our alcohol.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah,
some things I just don't need to know.
Yeah, that was bad. I did have a rebellious phase. Honestly, it was a little bit, you got caught in the fire, but mostly I was mad at my dad. It wasn't you. And then yeah,
it got bad. It got really bad. You were just really mean to your siblings, mean to me. And yeah, we got through it. I did the same thing to my mom, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you feel like, do you think that we're similar, or do you think we're very different?
No, I think we're very similar.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
Like, were you similar to me as a kid and as a high schooler? Like, in what ways?
Well, I was very musical, and you were, you played piano, and then you got more into drama, creative things. And yeah, just, I, I don't know how to describe it, but into books, into reading, and could be really focused on one thing, and then you don't like distractions. Like distractions really throw you. Or am I just talking about me?
No, it's true. Yeah. I inherited your ADHD.
I'm so confused because I thought he was a gynecologist.
Should we?
I know, but everything I'm seeing is saying chiropractor. That he's like a bone.
Yeah, osteopath or what's the
Someone had an affair in the Moore family. No, not Moore.
Sorg.
Sorg family.
Yeah. Should we tell that story? What?
That's so out of left field now.
Just to wrap it up, to give you one last family tea.
Nobody cares about that.
Do you guys care that my great-grandpa is not really my great-grandpa? Because my great-grandma had an affair with her, we thought, gynecologist, but actually, as Shannon just figured out, chiropractor.
Osteopath, I think.
She's been doing our family tree.
Don't think he's a chiropractor. I think he was like an osteopath, something like that. But he was also very much into astrological things.
So into astrology, like thinking really weird things. Like, yeah. I almost wish that my great-grandpa
astrology isn't weird, but the way he wrote about
it was weird. Reading what he wrote about astrology. So it is the next day. We ended up having to go to her sister's house, my cousin's house. We were playing board games, and we were an hour late. So we had to go with no explanation. I'm so sorry, but we are continuing this the next day. This is going to be more of an outro, but what were you saying?
And then the other thing was that when we were overseas and it was just my mom, my stepdad, and myself, I remember my mom was really sad because her kids had been taken away from her, and now she's overseas, so super far away.
Well, basically, my grandma, so your mom, was in the process of a divorce with my grandpa, and she was pregnant with you, and then she lost custody because of, she was like framed for like having an affair, but really she was like separated from my grandpa, and he just had more money for a lawyer. He had a connection to a lawyer, and she didn't, and he kind of like screwed her over, got custody of her 2 oldest kids, and my mom was just nursing, so she got to stay. Like, basically, the court ruled that my grandma was an unfit mother because she was dating someone else, and so my mom was the only kid that got to stay with her mom, my grandma, but she ended up in bad relationships, and she was going through it. And then my mom was overseas with my grandma. And what were you gonna say about it?
Yeah, as a little kid, I separated from my big sister and big brother, and I just remember like hugging my mom. Like, we would take a nap and I would hug her, and no amount of physical comforting was enough. Like, she was just so sad. So she was super depressed, and I wasn't enough to make her feel happy. So I always had that I'm not enough feeling, right? And then my stepdad was violent to her. So it was just...
You have been through a lot.
Bad, all around.
Which, like, in the beginning of this episode, I was, like, talking about how my mom was, like, choosing bad men, in my opinion, bad men. And as a kid, I didn't understand that. And I was like, why? And then when you hear all these stories, you're like, oh, it's all she ever knew, though. Like, she didn't know any of it. Like, you're just used to all of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't want any part of it. I was like, no, I'm not entertaining. That's only because I was being like a brat. And also just trying to defend you. Really, you're just a victim of your circumstances, and so is everyone. Like, you just watch that.
So is everyone, and everyone can rise above that just because everybody has that
and she
resilience.
Has like she's in a right, and she's how old are you? 65?
63.
That's not that far off.
Yes, it is.
She's 63 and she's in the healthiest relationship of your life now, right?
Yes.
And you guys have been together for how long? 5 years?
Well, we're going on 4 years.
4 years. So
3.5.
at any age, like it's never too late to like change your patterns, you know? Like you can change your mind about the life that you want to have and then just do that. Like instead of having to go through turmoil all the time and being like, I guess this is just what I get to have. Like this is just my life. You can just be like, no, I want to date someone normal. I want to have a normal life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like, obviously I'm proud of you for breaking the cycle.
Well, it took a lot of tries. It's not easy. It's not an overnight thing. You can't just say, oh, I'm not going to be that way anymore. There's a lot of work, internal work that you have to do.
Which is why she is now doing yoga for people that experience trauma.
Because yoga was like one of those lifesavers that really changed things around for me. It was
so amazing. What is your business? Will you plug your business?
Yeah, it's right now it's online. It's at flutinayogini.com, and I give yoga classes specifically targeted for people with trauma. So it's based on things that are helpful for trauma, and there's meditation, there's breathing, breath work. So, yeah, I've done a lot of training for specifically yoga for trauma.
And you guys should go, if you are interested in the work she does, you should definitely reach out to her. I'll put her contact info on the screen or in the bio if you're listening. If you're on YouTube, definitely subscribe so that you get, I don't even know if you get notified, but at least you'll just see my next episode. And I think you're going to want to see the next episode because guess what? I'm going to be in my studio. I'm going back today. We are flying to LA. We're leaving like right now.
I'm so sad.
Thank you for letting us stay here. It was so fun. We had the best time together.
We did. Absolutely.
And she met Shannon for the first time on this trip. I think did we talk about that? You met Shannon.
I don't know if we talked about that. But
what did you think?
She's just a joy to be around. Just love her. Can't wait till you guys can come back again.
Everyone loved her. It was so fun. We had the best week, honestly, ever.
We really did.
But thank you guys for listening. Next episode will be in the studio. Thank you guys for being flexible. I know this wasn't on a Tuesday like it normally is. Next week's episode will be on hopefully a Tuesday. I'm not really sure when this one's going up, but I'm going to figure it out. And thank you guys for listening. Rate 5 stars and follow my mom and do her yoga. Okay. Thank you guys.
Thank you.